It was a left-handed bow that he was shooting right-handed.
I want a glowy bowstring too.
So wait, so what you're saying is that all isn't real what I see. That's not accurate. That's not accurate. I think, yes, it's very inaccurate on a lot of the portrayal of stuff you've seen. But honestly, it's like if you took a look at any profession or any sort of endeavor, like the way Hollywood will, whatever, doctor it up or whatever, not portray reality. I'm sure if you got a police officer in your family and said, wow, that's exactly how it is when you're a cop, right? Like, no, lethal weapon is not how it is. As a police officer, I spend most of my time doing paperwork and not, jumping through car windshields at serial killers. So I think that, I personally come from the standpoint that, yes, it's very inaccurate, but, and not in defending it, but in the sense that it's great. Like, look at the size of this panel right now. I mean, look how popular it is. Look how many people have come out to check it out. And my father is an archaeologist, and what he does is nothing like what Indiana Jones does. but when those movies came out and were popular, there was a 60-70% spike in the number of people going into archaeology, and that's a good thing no matter how you strike it.
Every archaeologist I've ever handed an Indiana Jones idol to has the same look on their face. Mm-hmm. They're gonna run. A lot of the ones I've talked to, because I have my stuff on display, I have an idol and I have the disc and the cup, and I put them on display at different places. And every time people come to me, I was inspired. That's why I became an archaeologist. I've had so many people tell me that. Can I just get a picture with it? This is the reason that I got. Yeah. But it's true. That was one of those inspirations. The same with archery. People are watching it now.
All I can tell you is I've been shooting for 14 years and my arrows are green.
My teacher's
They
name.
are. They're green. They've been green all along.
My first teacher's name, my first art teacher was Frank Teal. Okay, he's a direct descendant of William Tell. He's the guy that gave me his bow. And I've been friends with this guy for 35 years and had never put the two together. And he kept telling me, because Mike Grell, who draws the green arrow, I knew Mike, so I had all the Mikes. I helped Mike draw those years ago. And so I had all the collection, and Frank's like, you have all of them? I'm like, yeah. He goes, I want them. I'm like, you want what? All of them. He's a comic book. Like, why, Frank? And he finally sits down and explains to me one day, and I'm looking at him like, you're for real? You've been kidding me, man. He wasn't kidding. And he has a green bow. The bow he gave me was green with green arrows.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Green arrow can kick Hawkeye's ass.
So JT, he was mentioning that you helped out a Green Arrow artist and everything, and we do know that artists kind of have to do their research, whether it's physical form or certain things. Certain comic artists are supposed to do their research.
There's a bunch of people with.
They're supposed to do their research. But as a writer, did you do how much research did you go into writing Ollie as an archer?
Well, as an archer, for me, it's funny. Something I never really got to put in the book was there was this notion of why is he an archer? Like, why does he use a bow and arrow, and why doesn't he just use a gun? Because obviously he's used to kill people in the past. And I never was able to do the story to really kind of put it into it. But in my mind, for Ollie, it was always a sense that shooting a gun is too easy. And he killed somebody early on, and he didn't want it to happen again. And so it's this notion that the thing with a bow and arrow and archer, it takes skill, and you have to think about it. And there's that decision as you're lining up the shot and take everything into consideration, that it's that moment of like we can't take it back, where it's pointing a gun and shooting and clicking, kind of like a mouse or in a computer. It's very, it's very easy to do, where it takes a lot to line up a shot or a bow and arrow and get the shot off and hit your target. So the thought that if he ever got to the point where he was going to actually have to take a life, he wanted something in place that would force him to take the time to go through that thought process, so he would never make a mistake like that again. And that's why he never went to the next step and went to like a gun.
Swordsmanship is the same thing. You choose the sword. I'm a swordsman. I'm actually a marksman with a gun, but I don't need a real gun. I'm a swordsman. It's my favorite thing. But the thing about swords is, when you're getting ready to do a sword fight or you're ready for something like that, you have to think about what you're about to do. And it's the same idea. I'm going to make a decision. Oh, thank you. I'm going to make a decision. So if you're going to make a decision to draw it, the whole time you're sitting there, you're thinking about it. When you make that decision, as soon as you click that, it's time to go. The moment that you flipped it out, it's time to go. And from there on, all the thought that happens is how to get through to the next piece. You're already 2 steps ahead of the guy you're fighting.
I have more than one friend, and actually people I've just met talking to. Oh, I'm glad I have more than one friend. weapons history. Everything from just throwing a stone to a person's head to all the weapons and everything that we have now through our army. They've always felt that swords and the bow and arrow strikes them with the word elegance, but they can never quite describe it. How would you describe it?
It's a gun. Anybody can pick up a gun and shoot it. That's the thing. It's like, to me, anybody. I come from a military family. My mother taught me to shoot when I was 4. Anybody can pick up a gun and shoot it.
Anything in archery, anybody can pick up the bow and shoot. It depends where you shoot.
Exactly.
It depends. Like, to me, archery is something that it's about form and skill. I shoot backwards a lot. I actually shoot better backwards than I do forwards. But it wasn't something I could just be like, oh, I just pick up this bow and I shoot backwards, you know? Like, it took a lot of practice. It took a lot of practice to get on a horse and shoot it backwards as well. So, to me, archery is something that a gun is a really loud bang stick. And when you look at even Errol Flynn in Robin Hood, if anybody's old enough to remember Errol Flynn, that's skill. Like that was all skill. That was back when they shot real arrows. The stuntmen in that movie they got paid an extra $150 to wear a metal breastplate so Howard Hill could actually shoot at them.
Those things were filmed at our range in Pasadena.
The last, when you watch that movie, and I encourage all of you who are archery fans to actually watch that movie as an iconic archery movie, when you see the bad guys getting shot with arrows, like it's real. To me, a gun is a loud thing, and it just, I think part of the popularity of archery now is that in the 80s, anybody's old in the 80s and the 90s, guns were big in the movies, lots of big explosions, bang, 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 and I think we're going back to a simpler time. Katniss is a fine example because she's an archer out of necessity. She became an archer out of necessity. Oliver Queen became an archer out of necessity. He was trapped on an island. It was out of necessity. I don't know what happened. Okay.
He was a circus. He was a carny.
That explains a lot. So to me, archery is something that it's a form. It's like water. To me, it's like watching a waterfall. It's form and it's beautiful. No matter whether I'm watching a Turkish archer galloping away, shooting backwards, or I'm watching an Olympic archer. To me, it's always something that's very beautiful. A gun goes bang and it's loud and annoying. It's dirty.
Right. The thing is, with a gun, no matter how you hold it, no matter how you pull the trigger, the hammer is going to hit the bullet cartridge with the same amount of force. The explosion is always going to be the same. The bullet is going to leave with the same velocity, the same direction, and the gun's going to work the same way, whether you're standing on your head or pulling it with your pinky finger. It doesn't matter. With archery, the difference between this and this is 20 yards off your shot. A change of 1/8 of an inch in your draw is 6-8 inches on the target at 40-50 yards. It really is about precision and self-control and discipline and focus and body awareness in a way that nothing else is. And I'll just mention it's also the most empowering thing a girl can ever do. I've seen timid little girls on the range turn into the goddess of the hunt in 3 arrows. It's awesome.
When I started, I've been teaching for years, but obviously I have more girls in my class now. 3 years ago, if I mentioned that I was a hunter, I usually got this reaction. Now I get, teach me how to kill this squirrel. Okay. You should push-ups. They're fierce. These little girls are fierce, and I think people like. And Katniss to thank for that kind of stuff, and Merida for sure, definitely. By far the best archery movie ever. Great. They actually did their research. The arrow goes wiggle.
I wrote an article about it for Wired.
Arrows don't fly straight. Don't listen to Kevin Costner.
Here's the thing about Merida. What was incredible about the tournament scene in Brave was not how great they got Merida's shooting. I mean, the director on Brave, the second director, Mark Andrews, had worked on John Carter, and the weapons master on John Carter had been the bowyer and weapons instructor on Russell Crowe's Robin Hood. So they had hours and hours and hours of slow motion footage that they were able to borrow and rotoscope for Khatuna. What was amazing about Brave, though, was Merida, right, sorry, brain fart. In the tournament scene, the guys that are losing are making real mistakes. they're not just missing, they're actually doing it wrong. I can sit there and watch and go, look, he's pinching, look, he's plucking. You know, you can see. Am I wrong?
No, we use that scene in class. I actually use that scene in my adult class, and I asked them, like, watch these silly guys shoot, and then tell me what's, write down on your test what they're doing wrong and why the arrow's going over them. If they're listening to me, they get it. So,
And it's called
yeah.
research. Pixar actually does it.
You know, but that's the whole thing. If you're watching a good movie, like I'm a swordsman, so there's things that I watch. The Kurosawa movies can't get better.
Yeah.
The same guy that did Russell Crowe's Robin Hood, he also did Kevin Costner. That Robin Hood with that guy back in the 90s.
Yeah.
He walked off that set because he was so unhappy with how the archery was going in that movie. He actually walked off that set.
Oh, you mean you can't shoot like Kevin? Come on.
It's not matter shooting like Kevin, and he wasn't shooting a
I
long
know
bow.
Kevin Costner's coach, I'm not saying.
Life coach or?
Certainly not his dialect coach.
Another thing worth noting, working in a lot of film and TV, with shows like The Walking Dead and a lot more histories coming up, we're seeing archery brought up as an elegant thing that's going to outlast your guns and your typical weapons of modern day.
You'll run out of lead, you won't run out of wood.
Absolutely. When you watch The Walking Dead, they pull their arrows, and then they take out more zombies. And that's kind of cool. In a post-apocalyptic setting or in a historical setting.
That's historical. 1100s, same thing. You went back and
Absolutely.
retrieved your arrows after the battle. You went looking to see how many arrows you had left.
And that's something very unique to things like swordsmen and archers.
You go looking for the
ability
swords
to
on the field.
Not run out of ammo and have to run down Walmart and buy more. Able to continue going, and allows the story to remain compelling and interesting.
I saw that there was a great article last year, New York Times did a piece about the growth of archery last year. Everybody did a piece about the growth of archery last year. But they went to an archery range in Queens or Brooklyn or somewhere and talked to the kids that would sign up for lessons. And this one little girl at 9 or 10 years old said, I like it because it looks elegant, but you feel fierce. And I right then I said, okay, I'm going to start an archery school for girls, it'll be called Elegant and Fierce Archery.
Do we have any audience questions out there? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I got two things. First of all, and I don't support the NRA, and the last time I shot a gun was in boot camp. I think you guys are a bit biased, I understand, but you really shouldn't. To me, anybody can master a weapon, I respect. And if you talk to an Army sniper, Marine sniper, they would probably have a different take on that, about skill and everything like that. I mean, you kind of really put.
Oh, accuracy! Absolutely, the shooting is accuracy.
But my thing is, she was saying like the gun's loud, anybody can shoot a gun. I disagree. I mean, I got in trouble in boot camp 'cause I wouldn't even hold my gun right. The guy made me. I mean, I don't really care for guns, but.
If you pull the trigger, it's still gonna go, right? My father was in the Canadian military, he was a sniper.
But true, but the way you put it, it's like, it's like you're kind of, to me, putting it down. To me, it's like, I have just as much respect for someone like you as I would a Navy SEAL sniper who have to do his job in defense of our country.
I don't have any disrespect for the gun, I'm just,
It's a personal
But
choice.
the machine does have to work. What you contribute is accuracy. But with archery, you not only contribute accuracy, but the amount of power in the shot, and the release, and the way that the arrow comes off the bow is all you.
you are the machine that is making it work. The bow and the arrow, not gonna do anything.
I can actually curve an arrow around a tree.
Yes, okay.
I can't, exactly, but I can't curve a bullet around a tree unless I bounce it.
No, the bullet probably split the tree.
Exactly.
But I'm just saying, anybody can master, whether it's a sword, a gun, I mean, a discipline and time.
It's
It
discipline
gets my
and time.
respect right
Yeah.
off the bat.
Yeah.
My other thing real quick was, for me, I've only shot a bow and arrow in Boy Scout many years ago, and I thought it was cool, but to me, my pop culture exposure really was John Rambo, who I don't think gets enough respect. Now, whether you like Stallone or not, that's besides the point. You guys are looking at it from a different perspective to me.
They shot Rambo.
I find it entertaining, just like Legolas. I mean, to me, it's like, I didn't look for the mistakes. I mean, to me, he was just a badass with the archery.
Yeah.
I mean, we get Katniss, she's got one, to me, a mediocre movie, and everyone's blowing her up bigger than.
Well, again,
Rambo was ahead of the curve.